Hey, Tatsu, come in, come in. So today's objective is to continue Taka's bodysuit, and we've come to a point, we're on our second last lining session, I should say. So today's main thing is to get his ribs lined. It's going to involve stenciling. I've just stenciled this karajishi, and then I'm going to freehand the background and maybe some flowers here and here. I've just stenciled this, and my next move is to draw freehand to connect this bit, and I might add another chrysanthemum, a flower. I'm thinking maybe add it here. Maybe it might look good here as well, but yeah. I'll have a think as I draw it on there. Usually I like to freehand everything all on there, but sometimes when you do large pieces, if you make a mistake, you've got to start drawing it all from the beginning again. So to shave a bit of time, like a shortcut, I like to stencil some stuff. Yeah, it makes the day go a bit smoother and a bit quicker. Yeah, to show you a little bit about how it starts. So recently I've been drawing everything on my iPad. This is the rough I've started drawing the black on it, but that's the rough sketch I drew. What I do is, because with Procreate you can put layers on it and you can trace your own drawings. So what I've done is I've put another layer on it. I've traced it all up again, yeah. And then when you take off the bottom layer, you get the clean, fresh black lines up the top. Yeah, and so this little guy gets printed out to size, and I printed it out this morning to get that exact size, just to kind of match the other side. So we've positioned it the way we wanted to, and we've stenciled it on, and then the rest was freehand. I've stenciled the main event, the karajishi, this main bit here, and then with the background and the makeup, the flowers and the background, I freehanded on there. This is the main karajishi. You can see him here with all these little light circles on him. And then the background, which is these lines that kind of do the Mickey thing on the edge here. And then you've got the kesho, which is the flowers, the makeup, which is, there's a flower here, and I've drawn another flower in here, like in there. So obviously it's a massive piece, so we've gone in sections. If you can turn around, Taka. Yep. So this is after his sleeves. It was probably maybe a few years, and Taka decided to get his whole body done. The next chapter was to line his whole body, and I started on the back. It's really important to start off the back piece. Everything comes off the back. So these were the first two main things. We did the line work, yeah. They're tsuru, cranes. And obviously after the back, we've stenciled this and we've stenciled this, and then I've just left the back like that. I needed this guideline, this crane's foot and the wing to come down here to be able to determine what is going to go on his legs. So after his back, we jumped on his legs. His legs took 2 sessions each. The first session was a little bit of stenciling, majority freehanding. I can't remember which side did we go for. I think we did his right side first. Yeah, so he's got a dragon coming up. Obviously the face is here, open mouth, and the tail's down there, and it's going upwards. And how I lined this was, I think I stenciled the face and maybe a couple of the flowers. I can't really remember, and then everything else is all freehand. And after it heals, he comes back and we finish off the line work, which is pretty much all freehand, like all the scales and the remainder of all the background that gets drawn on. And then after this leg, we came across to his left leg, and then, yeah, we did the same thing all over again. But just to break it up a bit, obviously it's the same dragon, but we've decided to make this dragon come downwards. Yeah, and these guys have the open mouth and the closed mouth, the aun. And then after we finished lining his legs, what was next was to connect, like from about here. I think it stopped from about here. I was about there. I think it was like that dragon in the claw. And what I've done, the next bit was to come up to connect this bit and this bit. And then, as I explained before, pretty much the same process. I stenciled this karajishi and I freehanded the flowers and the remainder background. Yeah. So this took one session. Yeah. And then that was the previous session, and then this session was this session. Yeah. It's the artist's preference, I reckon. But there's no real like proper way to do it, I guess. But the way I like to do it is get the lines on there first, because sometimes, like when weeks pass, months pass, like your brain always is moving as well, it's evolving. So sometimes the way you draw changes a little bit. So that's what I'm pretty scared of. I don't want to, for example, like do the top half of his body and then a few years later start lining the bottom part, because it might not have that same look, because my mind's changing as well. So it's quite important to capture the lines all in that same mind frame. Just to have that same look, that uniform look, and yeah, that cohesive look. Yeah. So I personally like to line everything first. So yes, after we finished off the line work, the sides and his back, and there's a few little bits and pieces like in between his legs and like underneath his bum and stuff, and there's a few like bits and pieces to go. But after that, yes, we're going to start the shading. And Taka's requested to shade from his legs, ankles upwards. So we have plans to start shading from his ankles and just to chip away and work our way upwards. Yeah, he's got one more hit to go. It's like that chapter close, that line work finish. So it's kind of a good feeling to get all the lines on there and then just chip away at the shading. Yeah. I can imagine we're both looking forward to shading it.
そうですね、ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございました。お疲れ様です。
いえ、
Thank you.
タカさん、
ありがとうございます。
Gonna have a lot of sessions, I think.
よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。